Four polar coordinates are given by C, A, T, and S. It's an interesting choice of letters. Who made that problem? Which statement is false? All right, so four coordinates, some positive, some negatives. Let's understand what that means. A polar coordinate is given to you by a R, which pretty much stands for radius, and an angle, which is your direction counterclockwise from the positive x-axis. So if you were to ask something like C, and we'll go over it slowly just in case you're not used to these problems, you view this from a viewpoint of a unit circle. Now, all of the radii, all of these guys are some form of 2. So I'm going to draw a terrible circle, as you can see. But the radius for all of this, the radius of this whole circle is going to be 2. So we're going to pretend that that point right there is 2, 0. Now, if I were to graph 2, what I do is I make sure that I know that the length of my line that I draw, or the point rather, is going to be 2 units away from the center, also called the pole. Now, this guy gives me a direction going in the counterclockwise motion from the positive x-axis. So you're basically going this way starting here. So you're 0, like a normal unit circle, pi over 2, pi 3 pi over 2. So without being perfect, if I'm going to go in the direction of pi over 3 and put a dot 2 units away from the pole, I'm literally going to have a point right around here. I'll call you C. Okay, so that's where C is going to be. Now, if I were looking at these, and let me clear some of this mess up. If I were looking at these and thinking negative radius, what does that mean? Negative R. Well, let's figure out what pi over 6 is first. Pi over 6 is like way down here. So I'm going to go all the way counterclockwise to way down here. So I'm going counterclockwise way over here. Okay, but since this is negative 2, I'm not going to put a dot here. I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So my dot has me going all the way around here, but since it's going to be a negative 2, I'm going to put my dot right there. Okay, so you're going to be A. Again, normally you would go in this direction, but since it's negative 2, you go in the opposite direction, which gives me that A right there. I'll leave those arrows just in case I need them. Now, the same thing's going to happen again and again. Okay, we go to negative pi over 4. Now, negative pi over 4 has me going clockwise. So regular pi over 4 would be halfway to pi over 2. So negative pi over 4 would be negative halfway to negative pi over 2, or basically right here. So you're now here, but again, we have a negative distance. So instead of putting my dot on 2 over here, I'm going to put my dot right here in the negative distance. So T is kind of next to A. S, I'm sure by now you're kind of getting the point. If you see a little thing pop up, that's me getting a different color. We're going with orange. 3 pi over 4 is right around here, but it's negative. So 3 pi over 4 lives here, but a negative distance puts me over there. That's my S. So let's see what they're asking and circle the one that's the lie. Point C exists in quadrant 1. That's true because 2 represents a positive distance. That's true from the pole at the angle pi over 3 when rotated counterclockwise from the positive x-axis here. Don't see anything wrong with that. So A is not going to be the option we want because it's actually a true statement. Point A exists in quadrant 2. So far, so good, because negative 2 represents a distance in the opposite direction from the pole at angle 11 pi over 6 when rotated counterclockwise from the positive x-axis. Again, no lies detected. B is not going to be our answer. B is a true statement. The point T exists in quadrant 4 because negative 2, T is in quadrant 2. So we have our lie already. So that's the guy we want. But let's keep going because negative 2 represents a distance in the opposite direction from the pole at angle negative pi over 4 when rotated counterclockwise. So there's error number 1. There's error number 2. So that's why C is wrong. Because if you're going in the negative direction, you're rotating it clockwise. Either way, we could have stopped right here. S is in quadrant 4 because -2 represents a negative distance from the pole at the angle 3 pi over counterclockwise. So a true statement. C is definitely the lie. So C is the one that we're going to circle. So I did a lot here, but that's okay. I just wanted to explain things thoroughly because, this is towards the end of Unit 3, and you never know how much polar coordinate stuff you're given. Plus, there's always, when it's written out this much, you really need to be thorough, and I just wanted to be thorough. So I hope this helps.